Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for Monday, July 15th, 2019 is called to order. And as I ask you all, anybody just came in, please mute or silence your cell phone, please, so that we're not interrupted during the meeting. Secretary Schultz, will you please call the roll for the members?
Mr. Sheeby.
Here.
Mr. Reitman.
Here.
Mr. Hyde. Here. Mr. Schultz. Here.
Thank you. I ask all of us to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag that's behind me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first order of business is the approval of the past meeting minutes. Any discussion on those minutes? If not, I'll ask for a motion to accept.
I move to accept.
I second.
Mr. Secretary?
Mr. Sheeby.
I abstain. I was not here last month.
Oh, that's right. Mr. Reitman.
Yes.
Mr. Hyde.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing, and all testimony given in cases pending before this board is to be made part of the public record. So all testimony and discussion relative to each variance or conditional use is going to be recorded, and it's from this recording that our minutes are taken. We welcome comments and questions at this meeting relating to the facts of the cases being heard. Public participants may be anyone who would like to voice their opinion. There will be time when members of the public may direct any concerns, questions, or comments to the board once you're recognized by myself, the chair. Any citizens testifying before this board are directed to voluntarily sign in outside the doors here and at the clipboard. And once you've been sworn in by myself, you will take your place at the hanging microphone, actually at the podium today, the microphone right on the desk there in front of me. And when recognized by myself, and at that time, we ask you to speak very clearly, because we do have reporters here tonight, or reporters here. So speak clearly and one at a time, of course, and take your place at this chair and identify your name and address for the record, and then you're welcome to mention anything you feel is relevant to the specific case being heard. And of course, the common sense would be that if you're going to repeat something that someone else has said already, or you're welcome to agree with it and state that rather than take the time to repeat everything, so we can give everybody a chance to speak this evening. The normal process at the BZA meetings is to swear in staff and members of the public if they're providing testimony or presenting evidence in a case. And we ask you once again to limit your testimony to only that which is relevant to the case being heard and what is being presented and the standards that need to be met. And I'll address the standards before we talk about each case. Note that the Board of Zoning Appeals is an evidence-based body, and that means that decisions are based on facts and hardships, and the facts must address the standards, once again, that I'll let you know about if you aren't familiar with them. We are not a committee of compassion. We make our decisions based on the facts and the hardships, and the burden of proof is on you, the applicant. So as this is a public hearing, being sworn in prior to giving testimony is required. So if you intend to testify this evening, I'll ask you to please stand, and staff as well. Stand and raise your right hand. I'm not going to remember who didn't stand, but I'm trying to get a look at it. Okay. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Your answer is I do?
I do.
Thank you very much. Be advised, if you weren't standing and sworn in, you cannot testify this evening without being sworn in, but I'll be willing to do that if you change your mind. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you have been to one of our meetings before, but we are hearing cases tonight on relating to variances and relating to conditional use. So if you don't mind, I'll I'll inform you of the details that we talk about, and much to do with the standards that I mentioned earlier. So a variance is an official permit to do something that is normally forbidden by our regulations. That is, by building in a way or for a purpose that's normally forbidden by our zoning laws. No variance shall be granted that is greater than the minimum necessary to relieve the hardship or the practical difficulty demonstrated by you, the applicant. Our Board of Zoning Appeals has a responsibility to make sure the following standards are met, and there are half a dozen or more here. Number one, it is a unique physical condition. Number two, it is not self-created. Number three, it would deny substantial rights. Number four, it's not merely a special privilege. Number five, it must be in harmony with the township resolution. Number six, it would not result in a use or development on the subject property that is materially different or detrimental to the township. And number seven, the decision that we make is irrelevant to the fact of whether or not construction has started or completed on a violation that did not request or receive a proper building permit. That's in relation to the variances. A little shorter on the conditional use, but nonetheless, conditional uses are those having some special impact or uniqueness which requires a careful review of their location, design, configuration on any given site. There are four general standards considered by the board and applicable to all conditional uses. Number one, it's compliance with the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution. Number two, the determination that the proposed use will not have an adverse effect on adjacent property. Number three, the protection of natural, scenic, and historic features. And number four, the consistency with adopted plans. So hopefully that'll help us in our discussion as we go forward here. Once again, I'll say that if a speaker has made a point already, please let the BZA members know that you agree with the previous remarks and avoid repeating issues. When you finish your statement at the microphone, please remain there so that in case any of us have questions of you. And respectful conduct is expected, and I'll not allow outbursts, and we'll be recognized one at a time, and we'll get through this in a very orderly manner. Okay? All persons are entitled to express their opinions, and we strive for certainly conduct of a fair and impartial hearing, so your cooperation will be appreciated. Okay? I guess our first step is actually a resolution that we want to deal with, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's with SYCB 190012. That's Arcanum Architecture on Snyder Road. We had a variance at the last meeting.
Yes, I have a resolution approving a request for a variance, whereas Matthew Evans, the applicant, made an application. The application for a variance to allow for the construction of a 1,283 square foot detached garage on the property located at 11935 Snyder Road, Sycamore Township, Hampton County, Ohio. Auditor's parcel number 600-0015-005000. The vote of record was all aye. Eichmann, Heidel, Schultz, and Glassmeyer.
Okay. Discussion? Mr. Secretary?
Mr. Reichman?
Yes.
Mr. Heidel?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz? Yes.
Mr. Secretary? And we have 4 items of old business here to cover as well. The case of SYCB 170014, the applicant Kathleen Ryan on Kenwood Road, is appeal notice of zoning violation. Where do we stand on that?
That has been continued.
I'm guessing that's been continued in the court system.
Yep.
Okay, very good. We also have the case of SYCB 190003. That's the one of Sycamore Township right here at 8540 Kenwood Road. That has been postponed until 8/19/2019.
Could I ask while you're on that, what's the reason for the continuance? Have they filed amended plans, or is there some reason they've given us to, I think this is the second time it's been continued, and I know we have people that are interested in this case. Is there some reason that they continue?
Now, we're talking about the case number 3, correct?
The Sycamore Township.
Yeah. So
Behind
basically,
us.
they've had several meetings with the residents. Tracy Kellums in particular has had several several meetings with the residents in regards to the redesign of the proposal. And he feels that they've made a tremendous amount of progress, and he's looking forward to submitting an audit.
Okay, so when they come back, it's gonna be a different plan than we had originally.
Correct.
Okay, and I had the same question for the next one, the motor high school one. That's the next one.
Well, that was,
yes.
that was a little more challenging because we're in court with.
How
So,
do we get in court with that?
say again?
How do we get in court with? the
Well,
motor?
the applicant,
Oh, we denied it and they appealed it,
correct?
and now they're back again.
Well,
With a
they're back
different plan.
again, but the challenge was, we filed a motion, went back in front of the judge saying that we couldn't get the same case, and the judge found in our favor, so now we're going to a mediator for that case.
So, but we, because I know when they filed with us, they filed a different plan than the one they originally did.
Correct.
So that's the one that's on hold pending what the court does with the original plan.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay.
And
All right.
there's a lot of similarities in that, and our legal counsel felt that there wasn't enough difference between the two applications to where it should be considered two applications.
I know that the second plan had fewer parking spaces and additional buffering and the lighting was different.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, to try to comply with the problems we had the first time around, in part. Okay, thank you.
So you stole my thunder there, Mr. Sheeby, and nonetheless, the Muller High School case has been postponed to 8/19, at least at this point. Our last case of old business is the SYCB 190011, and that's for Twyla Heinlein on Kugler Mill Road. This was for a variance.
Correct, and, it's my understanding there was a little bit of confusion about this case at the last meeting, so I just wanted to try to clarify. I'll do a quick, re-presentation of, the slide that was given the last time. Since it is a church and a single-family residence, the request regarding signage does go in front of the BZA. And I've got, a slide at the end to kind of go into a little bit more detail of why, but even though this is a commercial building as far as the building code is concerned, it's also a church which was approved through the conditional use approval process. Now, they're going for a sign variance, so they're looking for relief based on the location of where they built the sign. Now, again, I'll quickly go through this. If you have any questions as I go through the slides, please don't hesitate to ask for clarification. I'll be happy to do so.
I thought we granted this question.
I was told.
We continue.
We continue.
Okay, my mistake.
So again, it is, the current zoning is C, single-family residential. The zoning compliance issue is section 1353, minimum setbacks from the right of way, 10 foot is required. The applicant provides 0 feet from the property line. So the request is a permit a monument not meeting the required setback to remain as installed. So this is what the applicants submitted for the zoning certificate, which was approved, SYZ 18325. They did indicate that the setback would be 10 feet, which is what the code requires from the property line. Once we determined, which was after the sign was installed, when we added some dimensions here to kind of clarify for the board actually how and where the sign is. So the sign is actually right there on the property line, which is, the right of way is about 15 foot away, as noted here, about 16 foot. And then the code requires the sign to actually be back an additional 10 feet from that area, which it's not. So there's the sign that was installed. Now, we have a couple inspections that we do for signs. One is a foundation inspection. So before the foundation is actually poured, we will go out, verify the location with some type of pins or stakes that the applicant had a surveyor install. In this case, the applicant never called for a foundation inspection, so therefore it's missed. So the sign was put in the wrong location. Here's another shot, basically just showing the address on the sign.
Harry, just for my benefit, I guess,
Okay.
you said what you said about the pin. Would you consider that Is this partially our fault or not?
I would consider that none of our fault. In regards to the planning and zoning staff,
Yeah.
we actually have it noted on the permit. So in our permit, it will call out for foundation inspection required, final inspection required. In this case, the applicant, which if I recall correctly, was the sign company, they didn't call for that inspection. Here's a view coming, let me see, this would be from west to east, looking at the sign. Here's a view going east to west. Now, here's what I wanted to basically bring to the board's attention. So, under chapter 21 for variances, the variance procedure is intended to provide a means by which relief may be granted from unforeseen particular applications of this resolution that create particular difficulties or particular hardships. Obviously, it's up to the board to determine if the installation of this sign without a foundation review falls in that category. So that's basically what happened. The other thing under 21A, conditions on variances, the Board of Zoning Appeals may impose such specific conditions and limitations concerning construction, characters, location, landscaping, screening, and other matters related to the purpose and objections of this resolution. The reason I'm pointing that out is that's basically allowing you to hear this in regards to location. As long as the right relief this board wants to do so. That's all I have.
So you're telling me that this sign is now in the right of way?
It's right at the edge of the right of way, so it's zero property. So it's still, on the applicant, on the owner's property, but it doesn't even take a setback. So if they were to, for example, widen this road, which is through the mill, that sign would now be at the edge of the right of way, which would then be a hazard condition. Now, I do have, a flash drive that the applicant has provided, if the board would like me to show you that presentation also.
Just in finishing my thought about that. So if it's not in the right of way, but at the edge of the right of way, are we in any way responsible if for some reason we would approve this location? If there was a road widening, would we be responsible for, because we approved this, for removing and replacing their sign somewhere else?
That's, I think, more of a legal question, and I don't feel comfortable answering it.
Okay.
All I can say is if this board grants relief in regards to what our code requires, you do have that authority. As far as the legal ramifications, I can't address that.
Is this part of the new sidewalk in all area that's going in?
I don't know if that site is or not. I don't know if the engineering's been done all the way down. I know it's been done on the first phase coming from the Montgomery Road up.
Well, we understood last week, or last month, that part of the reason for this was obvious, as you can see, if it was moved back a little bit, it would be blocked by a tree, west to east here, and probably blocked by the building east to west. So I realize the situation, that moving it a little bit doesn't make sense to me. Moving it all the way would create a concern for their availability for people to see it. So the concern about who's responsible, should there be a widening or a sidewalk project, that's where I'm kind of getting into trouble. We can certainly see what they provided or hear from the applicant.
Okay. Be happy to give me a
So
second.
you're gonna, there's no one here from that, right? There's no one here from that?
There should be.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the sign-
that's right, I thought I saw you, okay. Right. We'll let this be shown first as appropriate, I bet, right? Very good.
Okay, so at this time, the applicant would need to address these slides.
So, okay, if the applicant would like to come forward and make this presentation, certainly can. Please do. There's two chairs up here if you want to utilize them. We can make a third one available. Just the two of you? Okay. So both of you just speak clearly so we can pick you up on the recording, and also give us your name and address and affiliation.
I'm Twyla Highline from Cincinnati, but since I was elected, and applied for the hearings.
And I'm Mark Cravens, pastor at the location on Google Mail.
Okay, very good.
And I'm the one, Mr. Chairman, who put this PowerPoint together. So with your permission, I'll just briefly go through what I have here.
Please do.
The first slide that I have, first of all, I just wanted to clarify that there was some question about the location, and I had made mention that one of the reasons why we were not initially concerned was because we thought the sign was being installed where we had been promised the sign was going to go. So if we can see the first picture will show where this is on the contract we were given, the proposal. This was on the cover of what was given to the Sycamore Township application permit. That picture was on the cover. And as you can see where the sign is now, with the exception of being closer to the tree, it is in the same proximity. So I just wanted to clarify that we weren't trying as a church to do something that we thought from the very beginning, this is where the sign was going from the very beginning.
You made the statement that you were promised where it was gonna go?
This-
By whom?
By the sign company. This picture was given to us by the sign company on the left. That was their artist drawing, conception of the sign, when we signed the contract. And so that's where it's at, and then, so I'm saying is, it's just right there. That's why we were not concerned initially, because it appeared the sign was right where we had agreed for the sign to be.
Okay.
So the next slide shows, again, what we did was, we did a Photoshop, and we took the sign, and we go back 10 feet, there's a visibility issue. This is heading east from Plainfield